You're welcome here. So my name is Oluwatosin Sarah and I'm a blockchain developer. I'm also a technical writer. I write technical articles on blockchain related topics. I've written a couple of articles on StarkNet. I've written, if you're following me on Twitter, you should, like, I've seen threads on me writing on StarkNet as a layer 2 scaling solution and how transactions are processed on StarkNet. So that's just by the way. So in this video, I will be showing you or giving you the necessary information that you need to know um, to start with writing your first StarkNet contract. So um without further ado, let's just like get straight into the video. So the first thing that you want to do when you want to write your StarkNet contract is to obviously set up your development environment. So I've already set up my development environment. I'll be putting a link in the description box below so you can follow and then set yours up also. It is if you follow the step, the guide, you're not going to be having any issues. But in case you have any issues, you can always reach out to me on Twitter or drop a message for me in the comment section. So yeah, the first thing for you to do is set up your development environment. And once you set up your development environment, you create a folder. In this tutorial, you can see that I created a folder called contracts. So in the folder, you need to like have specify two folders. So the first folder is the source folder where your smart contract files will go into, and then you have your serial folder. So I'm going to be explaining everything one after the other. So in this contract that we have here, this edo.cairo, you can see when you want to write a StarkNet contract, it has to end with a dot Cairo extension. So which will tell the compiler that okay, this particular file is a Cairo file. And also if um maybe you have a longer name than this hello, you can separate it with underscore. So that's just the convention. So say for instance now you want to have like hello world.cairo, you shouldn't put hyphen in the middle, you should have underscore. That is the convention. So that is just by the way. So the first thing that you need to, after creating your source after creating your source file, you need to create your source, your serial folder. And serial means safe intermediate representation. Safe intermediate representation. So what serial does is when you are done writing your StarkNet contract, when you compile the contract, it first gets compiled down into serial. It will get compiled that into serial. So when you now deploy your contract, it is actually serial that is being deployed to StarkNet network. So before it's now deployed down to the Cairo assembly, which is known as CASM. So this is just a function of serial. When you compile your contract, it gets compiled down into serial, and then serial is being deployed to StarkNet blockchain. So the first thing that you specify in your contract file is this hash square bracket contract, and this is called a macro, which tells the contract, which tells this file or the compiler that this file is a StarkNet contract. So as you already know that Cairo is the programming language for writing smart contracts on StarkNet. Cairo is just a programming language, can be used to write other programs. I mean, it can be, you can write pure Cairo program without using StarkNet contracts, right? So you can have Cairo programs and you can have StarkNet contracts. Cairo is just a programming language that is used to write StarkNet contracts. So if you do not specify this contract, the compiler is going to take this as a normal Cairo program. But on you specifying this contract, this macro, is going to tell the compiler that okay, this particular file is a StarkNet contract. You should get compiled in StarkNet and then deploy the StarkNet network. So that's what that macro does. So the next thing that we have here is a mode, which um, is the full meaning for module, right? So what module does is that it just specify like a block of code containing several functions and declarations. So in a module you can have several functions and declarations according to your use case. I mean, what you're coding. So that's just what modules are like normally. So in a module, so in your contract, you specify the module and then you have the contract name. So here we are having Hello Starknet as the contract name. And you specifying this module, you can also have modules, like you can also import modules inside of a module, just like this. So this, you use StarkNet column get contract address. This StarkNet is a module. So we want to get access to get caller address in this module. So this use is just used to import another item or a method from a particular module. In this case, we are using StarkNet as a module. You can call it library or stuff, but yeah, as a module. So we want to like get access to get caller address, and get caller address is simply the address of the current caller of a particular function, just like messages or center in Solidity. So the second one also imports contract address from this StarkNet module, and just specify like okay, this that this get caller address is of type address. You know, both on StarkNet, both contract address and your 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 normal EOA, both are contract. They are contract. So it specifies that other get caller address, the current person calling a function, specify that that particular type is of type contract address, and also for get caller address. So if you want to access maybe address this, the address of this particular contract, you can use this get contract address method, which is being imported from StarkNet, just like address this in Solidity. So another thing that I need you to understand, like another key difference between a StarkNet contract and a Cairo program, is that you already know that for if you're writing Cairo program, you don't need to like specify the macro, this hash contract macro, right? Also, Cairo programs, pure Cairo programs are considered stateless. They don't have access to StarkNet virtual machine. But StarkNet contracts can have state variables within them, just like Solidity smart contracts can have state variables within them. So that's another thing that you should keep in mind. Uh, so the next thing that we'll be talking about are attributes. So It used to be called decorators, but now, yeah, I think you can call either attribute or decorators or macro, right? So, uh, when you want to when you want to state write a function or um have just write a function, right? When you want to write a function in StarkNet, you have to like define, you have to state this attribute. If maybe the function that you're writing is of event, is an event function, you have to like state this attribute event. Or if you want to write an external function. So in Solidity, we have four function visibility. We have we have public, private, internal, external. But this is different in Cairo. In Cairo, we just have we have attributes, right? And then the function visibilities in Cairo is we have external, view, internal. Those are the function visibilities in Cairo. So let me just write it. Visibility, visibility in Cairo. We have um external, internal, and view. Um, we also have L1 handle, but that this is just basic one. We also have L1 handle, but in other in another video, I'm going to like be explaining what L1 handle does. Right. So the external function or external visibility is used when write to you want to write to the state of your contract, or you want to just write a message, right? That's when external is used. Internal functions in StarkNet or in Cairo is internal by default. You don't need to specify the attribute of an internal function. Just writing this, let me just copy this. I'm just going to be using this as an example, not what we want to do. So just use hello. So this defines an internal function in Cairo. So it's just like the default. So we also have view function. Like if you want to like view um this particular this particular this particular function that you've written, you specify it with the attribute view to read the state of your contract. View to read the state, you can now like okay write your function inside of it. So yeah, that is that. So for every function in Cairo, unlike Solidity that we have, when you want to declare a function or want to write a function, you write function, I mean keyword function, and then you state with function signature and all of that. In Cairo, for every function, event is a function in Cairo. Um, so that is why we are having fn. So when you want to write a function in Cairo, you start with the keyword fn, which tells this it inherits this from Rust. So this is how functions are being declared in Rust too. So and then followed by, you can see in this event we have hello. So we want this event um to emit the current color of that particular function. So in Solidity, let me just like, I'm sorry, I'm going to be using Solidity as a case study. But even if you're not from Solidity background, you're still going to understand what I'm explaining. So in Solidity, you're going to, maybe you want to have your event, right? Okay. You're going to have event, hello, and then you're going to be having maybe address, caller, and then um the value, which is going to be unit 256 if that was Solidity, but this is not Solidity. I'm just using this as an example. So for Cairo now, after you state the FN, you've already like stated that okay, this particular function is an event. So you state the name of the event, which is hello, and then the type, the contract, the data type that you want to retrieve, which is um so let me just use caller here, caller, so it can be caller. And we know that the caller is going to be the current caller of that particular function. So and then the type is of contract address, and also um the value that you want to retrieve, which is in felt 252, the type felt 252. So um Cairo is a statically typed language. So which means just like in Solidity, Solidity also is a statically typed language. You have to like define for every variable, or every variable that you're declaring, you have to like state the type. You have to statically state the type of that particular data of that particular variable type, right? So yeah, that's just by the way. So we have various data types in Cairo. We have felt 252, and felt means field elements. That's field element. Felt represent field, sorry, wow, field element. And field elements are of bit size 252. So it can only contain 252 bits values. That's what a field element can contain. So of 252 bit size. So we also have bool, which will represent true or false. I recently published an article today. I'm not sure if I'm going to be posting this video today or tomorrow, but whichever. I recently wrote an article on basic data types. I published a part one article on basic data types, so you can check that out for detailed explanation. So we have bool. Bool is also a data type in Cairo. We also have integers. So we have unsigned integers. So unsigned integers are of different various bit size. So we have unit 8, just like we have in Solidity unit 8, right? And then it can only contain 255 255 values. I mean, the value, the numbers that it can contain. And uint, we know that, or we should know that uint cannot have a negative value. It can only be a zero or a non-negative value. That is unsigned integer. So we have variable, we have different unit size, unit 8, we have unit 16, unit 16, we have unit 32, we have unit 64, and this is how it is written in Cairo, U8. U16, U32, U64, we have U126, we have, and then U256. So in the case whereby maybe the variable or the value that you want to write is more than this 252, is more than this felt 252, you can use UN256, which is of bytes, 32 bytes. So that is that. So now, so in this contract, right, we have this external function, which the name of the external function is say hello, which takes in a variable of message. So another data type in Cairo is short strings. I'm sorry, I didn't get a short string. So Cairo doesn't support strings, just like Solidity and other programming language does. Cairo doesn't support strings. Calm down. I mean, so I have strings, short strings. So short strings are variables or data type, are a type that can fit into a field element. So short string is it actually works. It's it's a felt element under the hood, right? So if you can see that in this function that I have here, I want to like write a message, which is I'm passing in a message. You can see that I'm passing it as felt 252. That is what I'm passing it as. I'm not going to come here and write short strings. No, Kali doesn't support strings. So if you want to like make you want to write you want to write a string, right? You need to pass in the data type as felt 252, and then before you pass it in, felt is an integer, is a number. So you have to make a conversion from string to felt, so that you can pass it in when you're making interaction with this function. I have making the conversion, I have it written in, I wrote an article on it also. It's part of what I published on data types. So you can check out that article if you want to know how to make conversions from string to felt, or from felt to string, or from string to X, and all of that. So what you just like need to understand is when you want to um write a short string, you pass in the data type as felt 252. So you can see now, after, and then if you want to have a return keyword in um in your contract, it is specified using this arrow, and then you specify the um return type, just as we have in Solidity. So let's say what you want to return, you want to return felt 252. So exactly how you're going to define it. So and then you open your curly braces, and then write your contract, I mean your code inside of it. So we have let caller equals to get caller address. We want to get the address of the person, the current caller of this contract, and then we emitted the event hello, which is going to emit the caller, and then also emit the message. So that's just that this um for this for this video. So I've explained what you need to declaration, modules, functions. I've explained functions, how you declare your function. You declare your function using fn with your um the name of your function. So if you're going to be having something like say hello, you can see that the naming convention you have to have underscore hello. If you put hyphen, it's going to there's going to if I compile oh sorry if I compile this contract is going to I don't know what is wrong with it, but if I compile this contract, it's going to like give an error, which you don't want to see. So in that case, you should have underscore say underscore hello. That's just when writing your Cairo functions or your Cairo program, it uses snake case. So and it is written in small letters separated with underscore in between. So we've covered function, the syntax, we've covered attributes. We have different attributes. We have event, we have external, we have view attributes, we have constructor attributes. If you want to if you want your contract to have a constructor, we have constructor attributes. We have L1 Angular attributes. We didn't cover that in this video, but be rest assured that in subsequent videos we're going to be covering that. And we also what are the attributes? We also mentioned that default functions in Cairo is internal. They are internal function by default. And yeah, we covered imports, importing modules. We also covered basic data types. And yeah, so you can now you can um you can now compile your contracts. You can compile I didn't make use of this, so I don't need this. So you can compile your contract and then compile it down to serial. So this is what serial actually looks like. This is what is being deployed to StarkNet. So yeah, that's that for this video, I mean. Yeah, so in my next video, we're going to be writing a contract from scratch. So stay tuned, and if you learned something, I'm sure you learned something, you should um give this video a thumbs up, share, and also follow me. So thank you for watching. See you in my next video. Bye.